Are you ready for Samsung's biggest smartphone launch of 2026? With just a week to go until Samsung's Unpacked event, the Galaxy S26 Ultra has been completely leaked. We're talking official renders, full specifications, exact release dates, and even pricing details. Today, I'm breaking down everything you need to know about Samsung's next flagship phone. From the design changes that nobody saw coming to the storage upgrade that could change everything, plus, I'll tell you exactly when you can get your hands on one, and why Samsung made some surprising decisions about this year's lineup. If you're thinking about upgrading your phone in 2025, this video will help you decide if the Galaxy S26 Ultra is worth the wait. Let's dive into the biggest Samsung leak of the year. The S26 Ultra official renders just dropped, and honestly, they look pretty familiar. Android headlines published the complete specifications along with official images showing the phone in two colors. You get cobalt violet, which looks like a deep purple shade, and classic black. The overall design stays very close to the S25 Ultra that we know today. Samsung clearly decided that if it's not broken, don't fix it. But there are two notable changes that catch your eye immediately. First, the corners are slightly more rounded than the current model. This should make the phone more comfortable to hold, especially during long gaming sessions or video calls. Second, and this is the big visual change, Samsung added a camera island on the back. Instead of individual camera lenses sitting directly on the phone's back, they're now grouped together in a raised bump. This brings the S26 Ultra more in line with what we see from other flagship phones. Some people love camera islands because they make the cameras look more organized. Others prefer the clean look of individual lenses like Samsung has been doing. The thickness measurement came in at 7.9 millimeters, which is actually thinner than the current 8.2 millimeters S25 Ultra. But here's the thing, when you look at the side profile images, the visual difference is barely noticeable. We're talking about 0.3 millimeters, which is less than the thickness of 2 sheets of paper. Don't expect this to feel like a dramatically thinner phone in your hand. It's definitely not trying to compete with ultra-thin phones like the rumored S25 Edge. Speaking of the S25 Edge, it's interesting that Samsung didn't continue that experiment with the S26 lineup. Now, let's talk about the release timeline, because Samsung has mapped out some very specific dates. The Galaxy Unpacked event is happening on February 25th, 2026. This is where Samsung would officially announce the S26, S26 Plus, and S26 Ultra. Many people expected Samsung to shake up the lineup this year with different models. There were rumors about S26 Pro that would sit between the regular S26 and the Plus model. This would have been an entry-level Galaxy S phone with better cameras, similar to what Apple does with the iPhone Pro. But Samsung decided against this approach, mainly because of pricing pressure from the iPhone 17. The regular iPhone 17 costs $799, and Samsung wants to stay competitive at that price point. Adding a Pro model would have meant raising prices, which Samsung wasn't comfortable doing. There were also rumors about S26 Edge following up on the thin phone trend from 2025, but apparently the S25 Edge didn't sell well enough to justify a second generation. Thin phones look great in marketing photos, but most people prefer better battery life and more features. So Samsung went back to the classic three-phone lineup that has worked for them for years. This decision actually delayed the launch by about a month, while Samsung redesigned the phones and ramped up production. Pre-orders open on February 26th, the day after the announcement event. This is different from Samsung's usual approach of opening pre-orders immediately after the presentation. The pre-order window runs from February 26th to March 4th in South Korea. Then there's a pre-sale period from March 5th to March 10th. We don't know yet if this timeline applies worldwide or just to the South Korean market. Samsung usually offers some great pre-order deals, and this year should be no different. Expect boosted trade-in values where they'll give you more money for your old phone. They often guarantee minimum trade-in amounts, so even if your phone is in rough condition, you'll get something for it. Samsung will probably have exclusive colors only available through their online store. Last year, the titanium jet black S25 was a Samsung store exclusive, and it was gorgeous. There might be a partnership with Google to include free access to Google AI Pro. The Pixel 10 Pro comes with a year of Google AI Pro, so Samsung might match that offer. The big question is whether Samsung will continue their double storage promotion. This is where buying the base model gets you double the storage for free. So you pay for 128 gigabytes, but get 256 gigabytes, pay for 256 gigabytes, but get 512 gigabytes, and so on. With storage costs going up, this promotion is getting expensive for Samsung. They might scale it back or eliminate it entirely this year. The retail release date is Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. This is when pre-orders ship and the phone becomes available in stores. Samsung usually prefers Friday releases, but March 13th would have been Friday the 13th. Apparently, Samsung's marketing team decided to avoid that date for superstitious reasons. Wednesday releases are unusual, but it gets the phone to market 2 days earlier. Now here's where things get really interesting: the storage upgrades. A Finnish retailer accidentally published Galaxy S26 specifications early, and they reveal a major change. The base S26 and the S26 Plus will start with 256 gigabytes of storage instead of 128 gigabytes. You'll also be able to upgrade to 512 gigabytes on both models. This is a direct shot at the competition, especially Google and Apple. The Pixel 10a is expected to launch with just 128 gigabytes of base storage. The rumored iPhone 17e also starts at 128 gigabytes, just like last year's iPhone 16e. Samsung is betting that doubling the base storage will justify their higher prices. The price difference between Samsung and these competitors is usually around $100. For many people, getting double the storage for an extra $100 is an easy choice. This also helps Samsung lock people into their ecosystem instead of Google's or Apple's. The color options for the regular S26 and S26 Plus include black, white, sky blue, and cobalt violet. These are just the colors we know about. Samsung usually saves some exclusive shades for their online store. The sky blue sounds particularly interesting, as Samsung hasn't offered a light blue option in a while. Cobalt violet appears to be the signature color for the entire S26 lineup this year. It's a deeper, more sophisticated purple compared to the brighter purple Samsung has used before. What's missing from these leaks is detailed camera information and processor specifications. We know there will be a camera island, but we don't know if the actual camera hardware is getting upgraded. Samsung usually saves the biggest camera improvements for the Ultra model. The processor will almost certainly be the latest Snapdragon chip, but Samsung hasn't confirmed which one yet. Battery life, charging speeds, and display improvements are also still unknown. These details will probably come out closer to the announcement event. One thing that's clear is that Samsung is playing it safe with the S26 lineup. No major design revolution, no experimental form factors, just solid improvements to a proven formula. This makes sense given the competitive pressure they're facing from Apple and Google. Sometimes the best strategy is to focus on getting the basics right rather than taking big risks. The storage upgrade alone could be enough to make the Galaxy S26 series more appealing to buyers. So there you have it, everything we know about the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra and the entire S26 lineup. The design stays familiar with minor improvements, the release timeline is locked in for late February and early March, and the storage upgrade could be a game changer. Samsung is clearly playing it safe this year, but sometimes safe is exactly what consumers want. A reliable flagship phone with better storage and refined design might be more appealing than experimental features that don't work well. The real test will be how these phones perform against the iPhone 17 series and Google's Pixel 10 lineup. What do you think about Samsung's approach with the Galaxy S26? Are you disappointed that they didn't take bigger risks, or do you appreciate the focus on improving the fundamentals? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more smartphone news and leaks. I'll be covering every detail as we get closer to Samsung's Unpacked event on February 25th. Thanks for watching. This is Zaidi. You have been watching ZaidiEsTech, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and peace out.